All right, all right. The Tennessee Titans 2025 schedule is very, very interesting for good and bad reasons. As a Titans fan, I wanted to break it down and share my thoughts with you guys. But before we jump into it officially, hope you all are having a fantastic, fantabulous, awesome freaking day. My name is Garrett Shoemake, and this is the Shoemake Take. Hope you all are doing well. As I said, the Titans schedule is very, very interesting. And my first official thoughts. First of all, for a team coming off 3-14, the start to this schedule is absolutely horrible. It's tough. It's going to be difficult. And for Brian Callahan, the head coach, and rookie quarterback Cam Ward, it does not look great. But the season does get better as it goes along. Definitely the last quarter of the season, last maybe third of the season, is so much better than the first third. Oh my goodness. It is night and day between the two. And it leads to something that I'm kind of interested to think about. But other than that, we'll talk about that more about that specifically in a moment. But another thing about this schedule, we got a week 10 bye week. We got a bye week that's not one of the first bye weeks, week 5, week 6, week 4, like whenever they start coming out. Thank God. Thank freaking God. Jesus Christ. The Titans have been screwed over by bad bye weeks, early bye weeks, for so long, and getting one here in week 10, smack dab in the middle of the season. Thank the gods for giving us a good bye week for once. Jesus Christ. Now we can actually go through, play one half of a season, go into a bye week, reevaluate, and then come out of the second half and not have to play 12 to 13 games. Oh my God. Thank you, NFL. Thank you for that. Although I'm going to be getting on your butts here in just a second, because you can't have good things like having a later bye week without having some bad things, like no primetime games. Are you kidding me? Now, before anyone says, oh, the Titans aren't good, they're a bad football team. Yes, I know. I'm a fan of them. But either way, something with primetime games that really gets under my skin is how they just neglect other teams. For example, the Titans are not just the only team that didn't get a primetime game. The Browns and the Saints also didn't get one. And the thing is, I get that the NFL is a business. They're trying to do primetime games where there's going to be the most viewership, therefore making the most money. That's why you get teams like the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys have 7 and 6 primetime games respectively, because the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, arguably, and the Dallas Cowboys are arguably the biggest football market in the entire NFL. So of course they're going to get primetime games. But there was a video that came out with someone that worked in the NFL. I can't remember his name. I think it's Jeff North. His last name is North, and he is like the vice president or president of broadcasting for the NFL. And he was on record when talking about the Titans not having primetime games. He said, quote, "You have to play your way into primetime." Shut up. Shut up. Who do you think you're lying to? You have to play your way into primetime. Okay, the Bengals played their way into primetime when they drafted Joe Burrow first overall. Nope, they were 2-14 that year. The Chicago Bears played into primetime. They had 4 primetime games last year. And I get Caleb Williams was this big generational prospect, but look what happened with his rookie year. They only won 5 games. 5 games. That's the team you wanted to give 4 primetime games to? Oh yeah, they went 7-10 with an offense that was so bad and had a quarterback in Justin Fields that couldn't throw 20 yards downfield to save his life. They definitely played into primetime. They definitely won enough games to earn that. How about the Carolina Panthers? Bryce Young got 2 primetime games, and they traded up from 9 to 1, which, congratulations. They also got only a couple primetime games, but they weren't that good in 2022, right? They were not good either. And then in 2021 with Trevor Lawrence, he at least got one. He at least got one primetime game. And then Travon Walker, the Jaguars' first overall pick in back-to-back years, mind you, in 2022, at least they got 2 primetime games that year, maybe even 3 if you want to count the Titans and Jaguars game at the end of that year where Jacksonville won and they made the playoffs and then faced the Chargers and beat them in that crazy comeback. But even then, every first overall pick since 2011, I'm pretty sure, has gotten a home or not home primetime game, but a primetime game. And that's just disrespectful. That's disrespectful and it's neglectful. Not because, oh, I'm a Titans fan and I'm angry that my bad football team doesn't have primetime games. No. I believe personally that every NFL team deserves one primetime game at least. Because from a fan perspective, as a Titans fan that lives in Tampa, Florida, I cannot watch Titans games on my TV without having to pay hundreds of dollars a month, hundreds of dollars, not $100 a month, hundreds of dollars a year just to watch my favorite team. That's why I do things, I go about watching my team in ways that you probably should not. So I will put it like that. I'm not trying to expose anything right now, but it's annoying. It's very annoying. And last year in week 4 for the Miami Dolphins game, that was the only Titans game I got to watch on national TV. On my TV, my 56-inch TV in my room sitting next to me right now. No, but every Sunday I have to tune in to watch the Titans and watch it on my phone, on my little phone, for 4 hours, watching everything that's happening because I can't watch it on my TV because I don't live here. So for fans that don't live in the market of their favorite team, the primetime games are usually probably the one game or 2-3 games that they get to watch their team all year long. Outside of that, they're just watching highlights, checking up on the news on their devices. That's not fair. That's not fair for NFL fans across America. But then again, or even across the world even. But then again, that's what corporate greed does. Corporate greed comes around and then no one here in society can have nice things. But that's a different conversation. So it just bothers me a lot that the Titans, the Browns, and the Saints, all three of them didn't get primetime games because as fans, we deserve the right to at least be able to watch one or two of our favorite teams' games on national TV. Is that really hard? Is that really hard? Like, why is the New York Giants? Why are the New York Giants getting 2 primetime games? Why do the Raiders have multiple primetime games? They're in no better situations than the Browns, the Titans, and the Saints. Okay, maybe they're a little bit different, but still, they all finished top 6 in the NFL draft. They either had 3-14 or 4-13. It's not like one was drastically better than the other. All of these teams sucked last year. They were all garbage. This was the most tight race for the number 1 overall pick in a long time because 7 or 8 teams were in contention for it by year's end. That doesn't happen. That's because all of these teams sucked. And then you get the Giants. They had a primetime game against the Chiefs. What is that? Come on, NFL. You mean to tell me that the Giants deserved a primetime game against the Kansas City Chiefs? With Russell Wilson? The only thing on the New York Giants that excites me right now, really excites me, is Malik Neighbors and Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence coming back, and that is it. That is it. The Giants are not going to be a very good football team. They're going to be mid, but they're not going to be really good. And so that's a team you're going to put on primetime against the Kansas City Chiefs? And then the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys got week 1 against Philly to open the NFL season? You could have put the Lions there. You could have put the Chiefs there. You could have put another better team to show off the NFL in the opening week. And you know what's going to happen? I'm calling it right now. The Eagles in week 1 are going to absolutely destroy the Dallas Cowboys because the Eagles are a lot better. They're so much better. And also, they're at home. So, I'm sorry. That's not a good week 1 matchup. The Dallas Cowboys went 7-10 last year and were one of the most boring teams to watch in the NFL last season. Oh, yeah. They definitely played their way into primetime. Congratulations. So, with all that rant aside, let's actually talk about the Titans schedule and break down everything. So, I'm going to throw a graphic on the screen now, and you guys should be seeing everything right now. So, as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, the first part of the season for the Tennessee Titans is absolutely tough. You look at week 1, go to the Denver Broncos, playoff team last year. Sean Payton's a great coach. Bo Nix is looking to take a big jump in year 2. That defense was really, really good. And of course, early on in the season, the Broncos do have a really good home field advantage anyways, not just in the early season because of the elevation at Mile High. So that's going to be rough. And then for the home opener, Cam Ward's debut, we get the great pleasure of going against the Los Angeles Rams, the one team in the playoffs that gave the Eagles a run for their money, and the defensive line that I'm expecting to be a top 10 unit in the NFL, one of the best in the entire league this season. And yeah, those are the first 2 games of the year for the Titans. Congratulations. That looks like an 0-2 start right now, even in May. And then week 3, we host the Indianapolis Colts. That's a winnable game. That's fair. Like, that's a winnable game. And then week 4, the Titans travel to Houston to face the Texans. They won there last year, but I think they're not going to do so this year. So you're looking at a potential 1-3 start for the Titans in the first month in here in September. And then you get to October and things get a little bit iffy. So they go on the road to face the Arizona Cardinals, which that's going to be a toss-up. I think the Titans can win that game, but also I can see them losing it as well because going out west and with the time change and whatnot, that's very difficult to overcome, believe it or not. And then they go to Las Vegas to face the Raiders. I think one of those games they probably win and they lose one, so they probably go 1-1 here in this split. And then you get to week 7, where they go back home and face the New England Patriots. And by this point, early on, this is not my official prediction for the Titans, but right now, I'm thinking they'll be around 2-4. Right now, going into this game against the New England Patriots, Mike Vrabel coming back to Tennessee to go against his former team that fired him. You know all the storyline, the drama's all there. But that's going to be a pivotal moment in the season for the Titans because if they're 2-4 or 1-5 and they get embarrassed by the New England Patriots and Mike Vrabel, I think Brian Callahan gets fired. I firmly believe that if the Titans are not 3-4 going into this game, if they are 3-4 or 3-3, excuse me, if they're not 3-3 going into this game, if they're 2-4 or 1-5 and they lose to the New England Patriots, Brian Callahan's going to get fired. And so that's a pivotal game. Not going to be an easy one for sure. Mike Vrabel, as much as I've kind of dogged on Mike Vrabel on the show, as much as I also as much as I love Mike Vrabel as a coach, outside of talking about him on the show and talking about the Patriots, right? Titans fan, I have a lot of respect for Mike Vrabel, but at the same time, Mike Vrabel played a big role in the why Titans are where they are right now. He's not innocent, but that's an entirely different conversation I've made in the past. But moving on, they go to Indianapolis in week 8 to face the Colts. This one's a winnable game, but usually the Titans will split with the Colts, so there is that. And then in week 9, they go back home to face the LA Chargers. That's going to be a tough game, a very physical, very imposing football team that I don't know if Tennessee is going to be ready for. But then again, the last 2 times that the Chargers have been in Tennessee, the Titans have won. So there is that. And then we get into the bye week, week 10 bye week. Again, thank you, Lord Jesus, thank you. Anyways, moving on, then we host the Houston Texans. This is a game that's also winnable. The Titans have a chance to split with the Texans, but they could also be easily swept as much as I'm willing to say that. So it's a toss-up, but it is a winnable game because at least you're at home, coming off a bye week with extra time to rest and prepare. So the Titans, for this second half of the schedule, things do get easier because of the bye week being in the middle. They have a chance to really prepare for this last home stretch of games. And also, 5 out of their last 8 games are at home, which should help them out. And so Houston, that's going to be a toss-up. Next, they are at home against the Seattle Seahawks. That is another toss-up to me. I'm not really sure where exactly the Seattle Seahawks are going to land, but I think they're going to have a winning season. I can say that right now, that I'm pretty sure that they're going to have a winning season. I think their defense takes a step forward, and their offense will be just good enough to be above average and not be garbage and look awful. So that's where I have with the Seahawks. But ultimately, do they win or lose that game? Maybe more likely they lose than they win, to be fair. But then they host Jacksonville. At home, I think they beat Jacksonville at home. No matter where Jacksonville is, no matter where Tennessee is, record-wise, whenever these two teams match up, it is an absolute toss-up. Any of these teams, any Titans team and any Jaguars team can go up against one another 10 times, and there's never going to be a 10-0 win, like, if that makes sense. Like, the Titans and Jaguars, there's always a chance one of those two teams can win the game. There's never a chance where, like, it's not like Titans going to Houston where, oh yeah, it's overwhelmingly in favor of the Houston Texans to win that game. No, the Titans and Jaguars always play each other really closely, so there is always a chance Titans win. There's always a chance the Jacksonville Jaguars win. But then they go on the road to Cleveland. I think the Titans win that game. I think the Titans are going to be better than the Cleveland Browns. I think they have a better roster right now. And then to conclude the year with the last month in December, they go to San Francisco. I think that's probably a loss. Then come home to host the Chiefs. That's a loss, most definitely. And then they host the Saints and then go to Jacksonville. So I'm looking at anywhere between right now 6-11 to at most 8-9. 6-10 to 8-9, I think, is the wiggle room for me for the Titans. But the thing is, here's what I think about this schedule and what I think about how it's going to play out. So the Titans are going to get off to a slow start. It's going to be kind of similar to how I had them going last offseason when I said they're going to start slow and get hot as the year goes on. I think that sentiment's going to remain the same, but just not to the degree that I had it last season. They're going to start off slow. It's going to look ugly. Things are going to take time to gel. But after that bye week, having that bye week in the middle of the year is really going to help them get a good reset, I think. And you get 5 out of your last 8 games at home. There's a real opportunity here where they can pull off, outside of the 49ers and the Chiefs, every game on the rest of this schedule is winnable, theoretically. And if they go 4-4 in this stretch, I think that would be huge. I think that would be very huge. So I think they'll win probably 2 games in the first half. So that's 6-11. You double your win total from last season. You take, and the team, as long as the team, even if you go 6-11 or 7-10, if the Titans are competitive in these games and they show significant improvement as the year goes on, kind of like the Carolina Panthers last offseason, they only won 5 games, but by year's end, they didn't look like a 5-win team. They looked a lot better than what their record would show. And so for the Titans, if that's how this season unfolds, I think that would be a massive success for them, a great step in the right direction for a franchise that's taken nothing but steps back over the past few years. So that's where I think the Titans schedule is where it's at. That's what I think is kind of roughly what's going to happen, I think, along with breaking down all the good and the bad with the schedule as a whole. But that is going to do it for me today, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe button. It helps the channel out tremendously as we're trying to reach 100 subscribers before the 2025 season starts. So go ahead and hit those 2 buttons for me. It's also free. If it's free, it's for me. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I was running out of breath there. Couldn't find a spot to take a breath. Excuse me. But other than that, also, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, whether you're a fan of any other team or Titans fans. Let me know your thoughts about what you think of the schedule. Are you happy with the Week 10 bye? How do you feel about having no primetime games? Woohoo! So let me know all your thoughts down there. And lastly, make sure you guys follow me on social media and share my content on social media, whether it's on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, getting everybody locked in and locked on to the Shoemake Take, coming out with great content for you guys every single week. But that is going to do it for me today, guys. And as always, hope you all have enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.